video we're going to be looking at how you use standard form to answer some harder questions. If you haven't already done so, I recommend you go back and watch the standard form part 1 video. So this question is asking us to multiply two numbers that are in standard form. We have 3 times 10 to the 3 and we're going to multiply that by 7 times 10 to the 4. When I'm faced with a question like this, the first thing I do is look at these numbers at the front, the 3 and the 7, and I multiply those together. So that's 3 times 7, 21. Then I look at the powers, so I've got 10 to the 3 multiplied by 10 to the 4. And when you multiply numbers that are powers of 10 like this together, that's the same as adding the powers. So 10 to the 3 multiplied by 10 to the 4 is 10 to the 7, because 3 plus 4 is 7. Now this number here isn't quite in standard form, because this is 21, and standard form needs to have this number between 1 and 10. So we'd prefer that number to not be 21, but be 2.1. Now the way to get from 21 to 2.1 is divide by 10. But we can't just divide this number by 10, we have to make up for that and multiply this number by 10 so that the number stays the same. So if we've divided this by 10, we multiply this by 10, and multiplying 10 to the 7 by 10 simply adds an extra 0, so it's 10 to the 8. Now this number's in standard form and we've answered the question, so 2.1 times 10 to the 8. Here are 4 more of these for you to have a go at. Press pause, answer them, and then press play again and I'll give you the answers. Okay, here are the answers. The first question would be 2 times 3 is 6, and then your powers of 10, you've got 10 to the 4 and 10 to the 5, multiply those, that's 10 to the 9. This is already in standard form, so that's done. Then we have 5 times 6, we have 30, and then we multiply the powers of 10, 10 to the 6 times 10 squared is 10 to the 8. This is not in standard form because the 30 is not between 1 and 10, so we bring that down to a 3 by dividing by 10, and we multiply this one by 10 to make up for it, so 3 times 10 to the 9 is the final answer. The next one, 7 times 8 is 56. We have 10 to the 9 times 10 to the negative 3. Adding a negative number is just like subtracting it, so it's 9 take away 3, which is 6. Again, this one's not in standard form because we have a 56, so we change that to a 5.6, and that means we've divided by 10 here, so we're going to multiply by 10 here to make up for it, so times 10 to the 7. And the final question, 2 times 9 is 18, and then we end up with our powers of 10, 5 and 7, so 10 to the 12, and again this number's bigger than 10, so we need 1.8, so we've divided that by 10, times 10 cubed to make up for it. So your answers are 6 times 10 to the 9, 3 times 10 to the 9, 5.6 times 10 to the 7, and 1.8 times 10 to the 3. Right, as well as being able to multiply numbers in standard form, you also need to be able to divide numbers in standard form. Now it's a very similar approach apart from 2 small changes. So previously we multiplied these 2 numbers, now we've got a fraction which means divide, we're going to divide these numbers. So 18 divided by 4, your half 18 is 9, and half that again you get 4.5. So the first thing I did was divide 18 by 4, and then I worked with the powers of 10. Well, when you times powers of 10, you add the powers, so when you divide 10 to the 8 by 10 to the 5, you subtract the powers, so 8 take away 5 is 3. And this number is in standard form, so I don't need to make a change like I did previously, because 4.5 is between 1 and 10. Okay, here are 4 of these for you to have a go at. Press pause and have a go, and when you want the answers, press play. Okay, here are the answers. So 20 divided by 5 equals 4. And 10 to the 7 divided by 10 to the 5 is 10 squared, and this is in standard form. This next one here, 45 divided by 3 is 15, and 10 to the 5 divided by 10 squared is 10 cubed, because 5 take away 2 is 3. Now this number isn't in standard form, so reduce the 15 to a 1.5, that's dividing by 10 there, so we multiply by 10 on the power of 10, make that 10 to the 4 to make up for it. On this one, 26 divided by 2 is 13, and for our powers we have 10 to the 12 divided by 10 to the 5, so you take these powers and get 10 to the 7. Once again, this is not in standard form, so that becomes 1.3, and this 10 to the 8. And finally, 6 divided by 12, that's just the same as a 0.5, because 6 over 12 is a half, times 10, and then 3 take away 5 is actually negative 2. And this isn't in standard form. Now this one's slightly different because this number's less than 1. I need to bring that up to a 5, which means I must have multiplied it by 10. So the other one, I divide by 10 and make it smaller, and 10 times smaller means this negative 2 becomes a negative 3. That concludes your videos on standard form.